Like you have certain traits. You don't fully tick.
That sounds like a weird way to say that you're not committed to whatever disease you know what I mean? Like whatever thing you have, like whatever they say that about. Like I can't imagine them saying like you're not gay, but you have gay tendencies. It's like, okay.
I mean,
that was a lot of the 2000s. Like a lot of people said that shit. I don't know what you're talking about. That like I heard that a lot, and then I was like, hey, there's a thing.
But you're there though. But you're there.
If it walks like a duck,
right,
and talks like a duck,
like a dog, it's a gay duck.
Hey, speaking of gay ducks, we're live, baby.
I always wanted to be like quack. All right.
Quack.
Hello.
Why is it
Hello.
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With nary signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Steph, Uni Mayor Sr.
Yeah, I don't have to look for you.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
And Mike Markadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
Right. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast, your favorite podcast where you come to watch and hear people talk, debate, and argue over their shit that we don't know anything about. I am Nary Signs. With me, as usual, is Steph Mayor Sr.
Yeah, back from COVID land.
We lived there. And then we have Mike. Fuck you. I don't want to be in your podcast. I'm in Italia.
Yeah.
Can we just keep that reaction image for various things?
Did you see? I did it because I thought it was funny. But also like, Italy was a fucking ride, man. Italy, it was. Good. It was good and bad and weird and like. Italy, Rome kind of sucks, but Venice is amazing. Like it was like a wild trip, and the whole time.
Did you have a
Isn't Venice gorgeous? Like Venice is gorgeous. It smells bad.
Gorgeous. The smell, honestly, not that big a deal because it's like the same. Everywhere has sewers.
It's New York.
Yeah, New York. I mean, like.
Oh, I guess since you do live in New York.
Okay, but it's like we were. So we were talking about Rome. When we got there, we weren't really ready for the toxic level of tourism that happens. So like if you're a tourist and you're not ready like 100% and not that you don't have everything booked already, whatever. If you show up to any of these historical sites or whatever, they're like on you like vultures. Like well, not even vultures. Like vultures just wait till you die to come eat you. These are
they're
like
very
hawks.
aggressive.
Yeah. And
Jamaica's like that too. Jamaica's very aggressive.
Yo,
taxi, and they grab you and you're like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, it felt like that at certain points, but also it was like, what's that? You never get a second chance to make a first impression. So by the time we were done with Rome, and there was a lot of problems with like figuring out. They have like a siesta, a restata, or whatever they call it, like their daily where everything shuts down. They had like their own little things, and it was hard to figure out. And then also we live in New York, like the food was not great. Don't go to Italy for the food if you're already spoiled by New York Italian food. Like
I think you're just used to that version of Italian food.
Nah, man. I
don't know. I've had fantastic food in Italy.
And we did have like we found decent food in Italy, but
decent.
But notice how you say decent.
But that's the thing. It's like we were talking about how like if someone like come from Bumsville, Idaho, who their favorite restaurant is Applebee's, and they're like, oh, we went to the nice place, we went to Olive Garden, if they go there, they'll get. I'm not saying you're that, Stephanie, but if they go there and they have like
I know.
some bullshit. There's a comedian.
I think you have that, to be honest with you. I think that you, and I've never been to Italy per se, but I think you have I'm used to the Americanized version of this food.
It's not the Americanized version. It's
but New York is Americanized version.
No, I'm not talking. Okay, in my family, we have a saying called an Eiffel Tower experience, and it goes back to when my aunt, like it's one of those things in the family that everybody kind of understands that because of this one story where my aunt
is it Kid Eyes for tourism?
No, it's Kid Eyes for. No. It's not even Kid Eyes. It's not Kid Eyes. It's so she was going to Paris for the first time, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, you gotta go see the Eiffel Tower! It's amazing! It's the Eiffel Tower! Oh my God, it's so beautiful! It's amazing!" Whatever. And she gets there, and it's the Eiffel Tower, but she was expecting like a fucking Mount Rushmore, like a giant, huge monolithic,
like the Mona Lisa,
off into fucking space, like this giant,
the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, go see the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa is this big.
Yeah. Like Mount Rushmore. When you go see Mount Rushmore, you're like, that's it. That's the whole fucking thing.
But the hype from other people to the experience, that downfall, that downgrade that you get, like from the expectation versus reality. My family, we've all known it as an Eiffel Tower experience. So like, this is one of those.
You keep bringing up. I'm okay with all of that. Here's my reservation with what you're saying. Again, somebody who's never been to Italy,
right?
Is I don't like however you want to phrase it, the cockiness of like, because I'm from New York, you're like, oh fuck, like it's just
I'm saying that as an example, but I'm saying that like as an exaggeration.
No, I know it has a good food scene. It's like it's one of those things where you're not starving for good food or anything. I get that part.
The problem is that if you go to like the average touristy area where like we were, you can go get average basic shit. Like nothing was out of this world. Like,
well, that's how it feels.
But that's the thing is, I never expect tourist areas to be good. Like high tourist areas, I don't expect to have the good shit there.
Neither do I. But then what ended up happening is that all of the recommendations that we were recommended were ass, or they were closed at the time that we went because on Google Maps it didn't say the time. Like there was like Google or Apple Maps or whatever we were using because we were just wandering, and we had a map full of these suggestions. We'd show up after walking like fucking half an hour, and then when you'd get there, it'd be like, oh, closed, or that's, like, oh, we're not seating for dinner yet, or something. Like we didn't have the timing right, so then we'd have to go somewhere else to eat nearby, and then it was like, well, okay, and then the vibe was always weird, and I will say the service is classic European, service where it was just like, Jesus Christ, this is
take it and shovel it.
Yeah, it's not fun to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I have that same experience when I go, and this is not me doing it because of what I just said. But I had the same experience when I went to New York and had pizza. I'm like, this is it. This is what the fuck everybody's been bragging about. I had that Eiffel Tower experience that you're talking about with New York pizza, and I'm like, I don't get it. And maybe if I'm now thinking about it,
and the opposite with Chicago, where you're like, no, this is good.
Well, that's why that's what I was about to say. Maybe that's why I prefer Chicago deep dish, because I never had anybody build it up for me. So when I had it, like, this is amazing. Why are more people not talking about this? And it's maybe they don't though. I've never had somebody build up.
No, they do. They're just not well.
I said, well, I meant talk it up.
Yeah.
Like hype it, like the hype. Why are they not saying that? And really the only people that you hear hyping up Chicago pizza as like better pizza than New York pizza are from Chicago, because it's not really like a.
It's just different.
I'm saying generally speaking.
I think it's the other way around. I think the only people that hype up New York pizza are former New Yorkers or who have family in New York, or people who just go by, people who've never had actual New York pizza and they just go by La Fama. They just go by that. They're like, no,
La Fama. That's a whole thing of where.
Wait, where else did you go in Italy?
We went to Rome, we went to Florence, and we went to Venice.
Florence must have had really good. Florence had good food.
Well, again, the same issues with timing and scheduling and all that stuff. And we also only had 2 days there, and that was when we realized.
Mike went to another continent, and he was like, "Let's not pre-order shit. Let's just fucking go where the wind takes us."
Which is
did you go?
Did
you go to the Vatican?
I've done in other places. I've done that sort of thing, where you go and you just go and you walk and you see until you see something, and then you go in there and you could do this and whatever. The problem
There's some
is,
places you can do that. It's post-COVID travel. You can't really do that as much anymore.
I was not that okay. So that is absolutely correct. Post-COVID travel, there's a lot of stuff that you then have to handle through QR code, and then you buy the ticket, and then you do the thing, and you gotta go.
What is this? What is this COVID you speak of?
I have thing that's happening. It's
not heard of this.
It's so hot right now. It is.
It's the new thing. I found out myself.
I'm all about monkeypox, so I'm like,
you're on
oh god,
Yeah.
COVID so passe.
For the record, monkeypox is way less contagious. It's like chickenpox contagious, not you know.
Well, I read an article recently about monkeypox, because I didn't know what it was until like 4 days ago. Missy told me, she's like, you don't know about monkeypox, and she said that shit like, you don't know about the newest styles. Like she said that like, you haven't seen the new Nikes.
Bitch, you hadn't heard about monkeypox.
I was like, I don't know what the fuck. And I was like, monkeypox. I'm like, no, and then I read I googled it, and it said that they're saying that it's more transferable, or they're seeing a lot more cases being transferred mostly through sex. And I'm like, oh, then I'm good. I don't even have sex.
Today's hottest club is monkeypox.
It has everything.
And it's something that's already happened. They already had monkeypox. It wasn't like this new invention. And they were like, it hasn't been around since.
No, it's a re-release. It's a reboot.
It's a reboot. It's a disease reboot.
And I'm like, is this a soft reboot? What are we doing here? Are we doing like a just scene by scene? Are we doing like the Lion King CGI version? What are we doing here? What kind of reboot?
Yeah. Is this a Girl Meets World reboot, or is this?
Is it one of these requels where it's like a reboot but also a sequel? No, yeah. Other than that, so to wrap up what we were talking about, in Rome, it was just overwhelmingly we were unprepared. Like, it was too touristy for us. Like, in the smaller places we could go. So then we saw the Vatican from the outside. We didn't go in there. Fuck that place. And I
was curious who would have done it. It's still beautiful. Like, the architecture is still beautiful.
That's
like
the problem. I am a Ron Swanson appreciator of the church, where they're like, say what you will about religion, but those guys knew how to build an edifice. Like,
they did.
It's beautiful. Like, it's amazing. The ruins we saw at the Colosseum, and we ended up getting a tour. Rookie says, when I went to the Colosseum, all I could think about was how much better it is in Assassin's Creed 2.
We can't parkour off of it, man.
Okay. So Rome has some of this ancient, like, you know, all of the Colosseums and the Forum, the Roman Forum, and the oh god, whatever that other place was that we went. That was like this like.
Went to the
it's just like the ruins. It's like this giant space that you could just walk through and take pictures of.
This is where they filmed the HBO show Rome.
Yes, yeah, shit like that. Yeah. But all it does, and Chiquita and I were talking about it. Well, we had to buy the Italian tour guide, because that was the only one left to be able to not wait till like 4:00 in the afternoon while we were there at like 11:00 in the morning. So I just had the little earpiece to the radio up to my Google Translate, and I was like, and then I would just like pick out the keywords.
Pretty good little workaround though. Like,
yeah, it worked out. But all it did was motivate me to think about what it would look like. Like, basically, you're looking at the bones of a thing, like fossils. You're looking at the fossils of a thing, and then you're trying to like guess what would it look like with meat and skin on it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
It's like when you're house shopping and you see like, oh, the bones are good. The bones are good, and then you can remodel. Then, and you have to envision what a piece of shit you're not looking at. You're like, I'm not looking at a piece of shit. I'm trying to envision what's not a piece of shit.
Have you seen like photos and recreations, like renderings of like what all the Greek like statues used to actually look like?
They had arms.
It's silly shit.
They had noses and dicks.
No, but I mean, like arms. The colors, the faces look goofy as fuck. Like the moment you remove all
it. Yeah. They did have paint.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where like sometimes it's nice to just look at the bones.
Well, that was the thing. It was
nothing on the fact that they had arms. Fuck both of you. You know, that was brilliant. They had the statues actually had arms. That was like somebody came and goes,
Venus de Milo. That's a Renaissance situation.
So I love the fact that the idea of somebody going like, arms are out. We're done with arms this year. Like, just goes chop off arms of all fucking priceless heirlooms.
That is a thing that happened in the church with dicks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Catholic
they went in and painted stuff.
chipping off dicks and putting fig leaves. That's why fig leaves are on all of those
Keep-
things.
Yeah, and then that's why there's all those like cloth
Keep the
wraps.
little ones. They
like, on
remind me of
people.
children dicks. Keep those. Those are fine. The big
Yeah.
human man-sized
Chiquita-
dicks. We got to keep those out.
Chiquita and I both had that moment of like, let's go to the Vatican and like just to say because we're here, right? So we went to the square, where the St. Peter's Square, the round, the thing, and we.
Mike is one step away from me, like, where they sell the hot dogs and shit. Like he's like one step away from me, like, where the hot dogs are. And
I'm not. I'm past
like where all the Dan Brown novels happen. Like,
yeah. That is 100% why we went there. Because it was like, angels and demons, they shot here. And there is Inferno was all about Florence, and once we like after the second day of like being stressed out in Rome, like to the point where I was like, this is not fun for me. At a certain point, we were like, I was like, Rome sucks, man. This has been such a hassle the whole fucking time, and it had a lot to do with
post-COVID travel.
Post-COVID travel, but more like just the way the city does not allow like where our hotel
but it doesn't work with your travel style, like your preferred travel style, and then the way that city just functions, especially at the minute, it just doesn't gel. So it's not going to create a relaxed environment for you.
But it was also
I'm type A when it comes to travel, so I'm just like
I'm more like that. But it was more in a different way because we were trying to do this free form thing while also having the curated experience. So it was like we were trying to do the unicorn travel where it was just like things are just gonna fall into place and everything's gonna open. The Rome will open up for us and reveal itself to us. And then I realized
very rarely happens.
No way. We either gotta. And that's the thing. I was like, I'm willing to pay money for tours to show me around and do shit because like I'm willing to spend that little bit extra money. And on the next. So when we went to Florence, we took the train there, and then we just kind of saw the dome, and we went and we tried to get something to eat. We were doing this thing and the other, and we went to this pizza place that was awesome. And then the next day we had the Best of Tuscany tour, and we went to like we left the city, the touristy city, and went to these like little medieval places like Siena and San Gimignano, and we had lunch in a vineyard, and they gave us free wine, and like it was. Now
let me ask you a question.
And the best part was that I did not have to plan, think. I could just they'll tell me where to be and where to stand and how to do and whatever and all that stuff. And it was
when you went to
maybe you're more suited to those like actual tour experiences now. Like you're just in that stage of your life where you're like, I'm gonna give you the money, you take me.
It's not even a stage of my life. I feel like city tour, like city vacations, city traveling would be like that because I realized at the Coliseum that I didn't really have as much a good time there because I didn't fully understand the tour guide lady. That if it had been in English, I just like the stories. Just tell me the stories about what I'm looking at. Like in Venice, we went to Murano and Burano, which is like this fishing village. And in Burano, they painted the houses are all super colorful. And they said that was when the fishermen started doing that because as they were coming home from being away for weeks at sea, they would come back and they would be like, oh, that's my house. That's my house. They could see their house from far away. And I'm like, that could all be lies. Like, that's just a thing they do for tourism.
But it sounds charming as hell.
But I ate it all up. I was like, yes, fishermen. Ooh, what a lovely, quaint story. What a delight.
When you were in Tuscany and you went outside in the afternoon, did it feel different in that sun?
Under the Tuscan sun?
Under the Tuscan sun?
Under the Tuscan sun.
Well, I'll tell you this. I did a lot of eating. I did a lot of praying.
You were waiting. You were just
loving.
I need a gap to say it.
Yeah, I was like, all right. I'll let you finish. Uh-huh.
You were waiting for. You were like
from the moment.
Click, click,
I could see him like just like
click.
I wanna.
Well, it's all right. So I had never seen Eat, Love, Pray, and this makes sense, I swear. And I never saw Eat, Love, Pray. It is
Eat, Pray, Love. Stop! Don't do it.
It bothered you so much.
Who gives a fuck? Like, who cares? Why?
It bothered me so much. It's too much. It was too much.
Eat, Pray, Love. You know what the funny thing is? All right, you're gonna hear the story. Eat, Pray, Love. I never saw Eat, Love. I never saw Pray, Love, Eat. And then that's the prequel. You don't even know. You don't even fucking know that's the prequel.
No, the prequel is Live, Laugh, Love.
Yes.
That's a sequel. After she got divorced.
So then I had never seen the movie. It is Missy's favorite book and or movie. She loves it. Whatever. Blah blah blah. That shit there. I don't know why. I'm not blaming anything. I'm not blaming anybody. I just assumed that it was a Under the Tuscan Sun kind of rom-com, kind of not, maybe like a little lighthearted, whatever the fucking
I'm
movie.
trying to remember if I've seen it.
Julia Roberts.
Yeah, Julia Roberts. Spoiler alert, it is definitely not a rom-com. It is definitely not funny. I saw half an hour of the fucking movie and it was so just fucking heavy.
It's a character movie. It's just
yeah, it's heavy and depressing. It's heavy and depressing. And again, I say heavy and depressing as somebody who was expecting a rom-com. So I'm expecting a rom-com. I went in there with a rom-com. And again, this is recent. This isn't anywhere near like when the movie first came out. And I'm talking about like 5 months ago. And
dude.
And I'm watching this movie and I'm by myself on a ship. And then I call Missy and I'm like, hey, I'm watching Eat, Pray, Love, Eat, whatever the fuck you call it, whatever the name of the movie's called. What's it called? I don't want to fuck.
Eat, Pray, Love.
So I go, hey, I'm watching Eat, Pray, Love. And she's like, don't talk bad about. I'm like, I'm just asking, hold on, take it easy. And I said, let me ask you a question. And she goes, yeah. I go, when does the eating part start? Because
in Italy.
But I hadn't gotten there yet. It's my fucking point. It's half an hour into the fucking movie, and I'm seeing some prayer.
The book is sectioned off in the eat section, the pray section, and the love section, which is why it's called that.
Oh, is that why it's called that? Yeah. Again, let me finish my story before we get there. Okay? Before we start laying down these in the books bullshit conversations. So that I was just like, when does the eating part start? And Missy lost it laughing because that was a genuine question. I wasn't trying to be funny. I was like, when is the eating part? Yeah. Because I've seen some prayer, and I've seen a whole lot of things that are related to love, but it's kind of like on the downside of love is like when love doesn't work. It's like when marriages don't work, when fucking relationships don't work, when self-love isn't present. Like that's the love that I saw in the first half hour. And then she was like, she gets to Italy soon. I'm like, well, she just saw a map. I'm like literally talking to her. I'm like, she just saw a map, and I think she just got the idea of Italy in her head right now. She goes, yeah. And I go, does it become funny then? She goes, no, this isn't a funny movie. I go, what? And that's when it was told to me that it was not a funny movie. I'm like, no, this is a movie about self-discovery. And I'm like, all right. And I just called it. I was like, all right, just you win. You won. You beat me this time.
You bailed on it right there?
Oh, I bailed on it right there. Because here's the thing, because of the heaviness of
it does get sweet, like as the movie goes on. It starts dark and gets sweet.
Okay, I hope so.
The Tuscan Sun is with Diane.
It's very
Lane,
much
right?
like
yes.
You know how
she's
kind of like
a house of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
I used to love
the
that
one
when I
I've
was a kid.
seen. Eat, Pray, Love.
So I should have been warned about Eat, Pray, Love much earlier, and I should have read it much earlier because I ended up accidentally living the damn thing. Mm. So like obviously I've been in Italy and stuff like that. So the dude in the book who she meets, who sends her off on her little quest to go do everything, that medicine man that she meets at the beginning of the movie. You probably already
Medicine Man, great movie.
I'd
rather. I don't know.
Oh my god, I would have loved to have seen that. Oh, I would have loved to have had that available to me. I'll watch the Medicine Man any day.
Yeah. So I went into shit blind. So I happened to go to Bali for my honeymoon with my ex-husband, and one of the guys who was our tour guide and stuff like that actually decided, he must have been like, oh yeah, you're from the States, you probably know this guy. I'm like, no, I had no idea. I hadn't read the book yet or seen the movie. He took me to go meet the guy. So I actually went to go meet Katut and go to his
the Eat, Pray, Love guy. There's a guy who's like
in the beginning of the movie, she sees a like super wise, fortune teller type, whatever the fuck, he's a spiritual man. He's a spiritual man who gets people from all around the world go seek his advice.
Sure.
Whatever.
The way certain
she's
things
a journalist.
Were put into
she's a journalist, so that's why she was there.
Yeah. So certain things would have been put into so much more perspective if I would have known about this book, or the movie would have. I don't know if the movie came out pre or post that, but I hadn't seen it. I show up to this place and there's so many blonde white women there, and I just was very confused. And there's a bunch of people
Karen
in this
hotspot.
place.
was a
It
Karen.
was.
Yeah.
So like, there's a bunch of people like doing yoga
There's a
and like
high
waiting.
Karen system coming in from the Bali area. Gonna be
Yeah.
swooping down into your local candle shops.
Yeah. So like, there's like all these women that are there. Like, it's just meaning a lot for them to meet this guy. They must have been on their Eat, Pray, Love journey. And like they're like meditating and da-da-da. And there's my dumbass. I had just come from the fucking monkey jungle, and like my guy just happened to like know the family, so he's just like, come in front of everyone. So like I was one of the last people who saw him for the day because he's so old. He was tired, which they were not happy with me. The ladies were not.
A dangerous high pressure system here with the Karens.
Yeah.
Could be.
There was like numbers you had to take, like a deli. Like a deli to meet this man. That's how like popular he'd become. That's how popular he had become. And like
scam.
I was already weird. I was weirded out. I was weirded out by some of this stuff. He was actually a very sweet, nice guy.
Most
but
cult
it's just
are, yeah.
Yeah, right. And like it's just funny how in retrospect, like, yeah,
a lot of this.
Yeah, the conversation with him is just really funny in like retrospect, just because of the fact that like he was one of the first people who warned me that me and my husband weren't gonna work out. I was on my honeymoon.
Wow.
I was on my honeymoon. It's just funny how that works out. Like, why would you say this?
What
Why would you say like he looked at him and then warned him, being like, she has fire in her veins, and I'm like, that's just a weird thing to say. Right? And then we were just joking around, and he like outed his son to me. Like he was just joking around about something, and his father, like, you know, the typical thing where his son is right to him being like, Dad, stop. Just like that annoyed, like this old man, he just looks at me with this like really like wizened little like no teeth smile, and he's like, like my son doesn't like when I say these things. He's like, he's the gay.
Oof.
Like he just like the way he looked at me, like, he's the gay.
Very
the guy I want to go to for advice.
Right? And it's just one of those moments where I was just like, okay, what is the situation I'm in? Cool. And it wasn't until afterwards that I realized this is the guy who like sends other people on their fucking like.
Is he gay?
Huh? The son? Well, yeah, he was. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I don't know why he was like.
Yeah, but why did he? It was his son, right? It was his own. It was the medicine man's son.
Yes, he wasn't saying it like a bad thing.
No, I was just wondering if he was talking about like your husband's son, your ex-husband.
No, he was warning.
Like
He was warning my husband.
Yeah.
He was warning my husband to keep up with me.
Your relationship is doomed because he's the gay. You have fire in your veins, and he's the gay. Next, 68.
Yeah, right. It was just a weird fucking situation, and it wasn't until afterwards. Yeah, it wasn't until afterwards when I saw this whole movie and read this book where I'm like, he sends this woman off on this fucking like adventure of her life and like tells her all this stuff, and for me, he was just like gossiping. He was just gossiping. And I was just like, this man is also much older. Yeah,
I want to understand this movie, but also I don't. Like I
wonder if knowing what I know now, if I would be more open to watching, because again, I went in there thinking it was a rom-com. I went in there
I get that.
Was, you know
which movie I liked that was like that though, that because it was not as spiritual in nature. It was The Wild, which was the Reese Witherspoon walking from.
I couldn't finish that one either.
From
so depressing. I was like, what?
No, I didn't get
super
into
depressing,
that one.
but like, you know, it was like she was out there in the woods and the elements and all that stuff, and then the people, you know, like that it gets like sketchy with certain people, and then it's like it was just like watching that whole Pacific Crest Trail thing. It was interesting. I mean, it was. And she was going through it, you know, and I would guess like there's a lot of people that need to get through something by doing something else, you know, like succeeding in some other way. And I was like, oh, I get it. But when it, yeah, like you solve one problem, you resolve one issue by solving another issue, you know what I mean? And
I mean, isn't that growth in humans as a behavioral thing in general? Like, you know what I mean? You learn how to deal with multiple things. If you work on yourself on one area, that will apply. It will help you apply those kind of behaviors in other areas. You know, it's
generally.
That's
but then you can get addicted to that new thing too.
Well, that's one of those things with like
Addiction is not all bad. You just got to pick healthy addictions.
Right. Well, like
Everything in moderation.
addiction. Well, I mean, no. What I was saying is like something like
Just a little heroin. Just do a little heroin. Just over the weekend, do weekend heroin, and you're fine.
It's that whole Arnold Schwarzenegger ethic of like working out. You can do steroids or do whatever, but no one can work out for you.
Yeah.
You know that concept of like if you see somebody who's like cultivated their body and made it into like like they've set it, they've shaped it, they've trained it into this like elite level athleticism, like athletes.
I wish someone would.
Huh?
I wish someone could, bro.
Will someone work out for you? But the idea of like of someone who took that much time to like improve their physical form, that there's no, I would trust that person to complete a task in some other way, you know, because they know what it's like to commit to something and do it every day,
sure,
and maintain. Like you can't, you know what I mean? Like nobody gave that person that body.
One of my favorite quotes, and it when I read it, it was attributed to Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know if it is because you know how the internet works nowadays. They have all these quotes, and you're like
Abraham
Leonardo
Lincoln
da Vinci,
said,
and you're like that was a Ninja Turtle quote.
But
the one of the quotes that I read that was attributed to Arnold Schwarzenegger in this vein was, "You could either have excuses or results, but you can't have both."
Right.
And I always think of that and go, okay, that's it. And then the other one is when somebody said to him, this was actually him. Somebody said to him in the 70s or 80s, and they said, "Oh my God, I will never want to look like you." And he goes, "Don't worry, you won't."
Right.
And then it was just like, you never
will. Yeah.
You're never going to look like this. It's impossible.
But that's the thing of like, if you improve one area of your body, like, one of the things that they do, like when I was really in, like doing the martial arts and stuff like that, there was like, oh, you train your body and then you train your mind and you do all that stuff. To a certain extent, there's like, again, that's a lot of like the spiritualism and all that stuff. But there's something to be said about like having a routine and seeing it through and seeing the results. And then, you know, like Neri is a perfect example of having set a goal and worked to achieve it. You know,
well, that's what I was saying. That's why I was pointing at me when you said like, fix other areas of your life if you fix one. Like that's what I've been trying to do, is that whole mindset of this is most recently what I've been doing, because I started trying to lose weight a year and a half ago because I just got to a point where it was really from my perspective it was I pulled my back wiping my ass, and that's an issue. Like when you get to that level, there were a couple of different ones, but they all happened relatively close to each other. That happened at the end of the week where I couldn't make the walk in North Carolina with my kids and my in-laws.
Oh yeah, I remember that story.
Right.
I couldn't make that walk. I had to stop and let them go ahead and take a breath. And like by I don't mean a breath like, oh, I'm good for 5 seconds and let me keep going. I meant like a good 15-minute rest where I'm like, I can't do this. So it was a whole compilation of things, but they came relatively close to each other. But my whole point is to say, like, so I started that with the whole like I'm too fat, it's just too gross, blah 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 blah. But now my addiction to working out is now what I was having this conversation with a friend of mine saying it's sanity, not vanity. Like it's not a vain thing anymore. It's really a sanity thing, because now
I love those words, the play, those
I by the way totally stole that from Mario Lopez. I saw Mario Lopez 2 years ago, and they interviewed him because he does Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and they're like, why do you do? And he goes, it's a vanity, not a sanity. It's a sanity, not a vanity thing. Like I don't like, because they were talking about like Mario Lopez is 50 years old and he has his fucking 8-pack, and he's like, yeah, I do that.
He's 50. What?
He's something like, he's getting there. He's close.
Yeah, he's fucking Slater.
Probably
from
like 45,
90s.
something like that. I don't know.
Like, Saved by the Bell was a long ass time ago.
Yeah. And by the way, he was like 20. He did Saved by the Bell.
He's already a full grown ass man.
I'm sure he's not 50. I'm sure he's like 44.
I know, but like now I need
aged
to
the
know.
best out of all of them, though. Like he is still like young.
Well, it's that Latino patina. Latina patina.
Yeah.
I like that.
Let's talk about our wordplay.
But anyway,
48. 48.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, man. And he still has an 8-pack. And he talks about, like, if you follow him on Instagram, he's a good follow. But like he eats tacos, like, and he drinks a lot of alcohol and he does all this stuff there. But he also trains in, jiu-jitsu, and he does boxing and he does all this shit. And he says it like, this isn't for vanity. This is for, like, to keep my mind right, to keep, and I couldn't understand that.
I can understand keeping your mind
when
right.
I started losing weight, I couldn't understand that. I was like, you lose weight so you can look good.
Right, yeah.
And then
what is this health you speak
yeah,
of?
what is this mental health you speak of? And I did not put two and two together, because my mental health, in my opinion, had never been bad up until the pandemic, pre-pandemic. And then now I'm like, oh, I feel better about myself when I go to the gym. It's not about looking better, but yeah, it's the thing.
Yeah,
but
I think about
I'm
that
not
a lot when I had the built-in fitness of like was in the fire academy or when I played football or something, where someone forced me to be in kind of shape where they're like, no matter what, you have to do PT today, and it's like, fucking A.
Yeah.
You know?
I heard a great quote. So I'm like one of these guys that's my explore page, is half naked chicks that are trying to pimp out their OnlyFans, shit about the 49ers, the football team, and then the other thing is like motivational workout, like reels. Like that's my explore page. And so I'm like really big on these. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm not gonna go to the gym today, and I'll just be on Instagram and they'll hit me with so many of those reels, and I'm like, all right, I'll fucking go to the gym, Jesus. And I'm one of those guys. But one of my favorites is when they say, there was a guy, I don't know who he is, but he said, when your boss tells you to do something, you do it, right? And then when parents tell you to do something, you do it. But when you set a goal and you tell yourself you're going to go to the gym, you don't do it. And the difference is respect, because you don't respect yourself. Because you respect your boss when your boss tells you, hey, do this, do your job. You respect, okay, I got to do my job because I have to do my job. But when you say, hey, go to the gym because you have to get healthy, you're like, yeah, I don't respect myself, so I'm not going to go. And I was like, that's so good. And then I sent that to a couple of friends of mine, and they're like, fuck you.
Yeah, that's a bit That's a bit like,
I think it's
I respect me. I also respect that I need a nap.
That's one of those things. Another one that another wordplay that I like. It's about information, not affirmation. It's about you gonna learn something. What you learn does not care about how you feel about it. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you're right. Fuck. Shit. Nailed it. And like it's that scene in Deadpool where someone makes fun of him, and he's like, "That was a good one." And he turns to the camera, he's like, "Yeah, that was a good one." Yeah.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. I'll say that to the audience. I'm like, I got nothing. Look, I got jokes that I wrote, but nothing's gonna be better than what you just heard right now. So I got nothing.
The one bit that I wrote about Italy was, I'll workshop it here. But the idea was basically like I was literally at on like some group, like some guided group with. Like it was me, a Cuban American from Miami, my wife who's Venezuelan, Spanish, I'm now an American citizen, immigrated citizen. There was like a Native American family from somewhere. There was like a family from the Pennsylvania, some Mexican family from California, and I had to deal with like 7 guys named Giuseppe telling me all Americans are the same. Like, get the fuck out of here. There's like a clone
you were
of
literally
17 of the same guy named Filippupo or whatever the fuck, and I have to deal with what? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Look, yeah, like a lot of people bag on Americans in a way where I'm just like,
the same. I'm like, we don't even speak the same fucking language.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
what are you talking about?
I'm like, people will say that to me, and then like I'll tell them that like, oh, I grew up in the States, and they're like, oh, I assumed you were Canadian. I'm like, because we're not a monolith.
Yeah, what are you talking about? That's on you.
Yeah, like people just assume I'm Canadian because I smile. I swear, because I'm nice.
Canadian.
Oh, you're nice.
I get it a lot. People assume I'm Canadian.
I wonder what
well, they assume I'm Canadian once they hear me like speak, like because they have a very.
Does it have an Australian accent?
This is in Australia. In Australia, you're talking about.
Yes. I either get assumed that I'm Canadian, or I get the. So where are you from?
What are you?
But like, where you from though? Like, yeah, what are you? And I'm like,
I get the what are you all the time. What are you? And I always get really fucking testy with that question. because I'm always like a man, a father, a husband, a fucking bitch.
I'm
I'm a
annoyed
lover.
right now is
I'm
what I am.
tired.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm a bitch. I'm a lover. I'm what? What do you I mean? The fuck, man.
I'm a sinner and a saint.
Saints. There's so many. Like that's such a stupid fucking question, and I'm like this. Like, why can't you just ask? Hey, what's your heritage?
Yeah.
What's your background? Yeah.
What's your? Where you? Where were you born? Where were you born? Where's your? Just tell me. Just ask me where your heritage is. I get that. I understand what
I
the
get.
fuck.
Yeah, it's much more refreshing when people actually look at me and be like, "Oh, I can't place where your family's from. Like, I can't place that."
What's your
I'm like,
heritage?
cool.
Got it.
I can tell you because I know my accent is confusing you with the visuals. Like,
I also think that like there's so much about like fitting into a box that like again like like in Italy when you go to Italy or I'll speak more on France because I've been to France more I guess. And
that's where you ate dog.
Yeah, but that was.
You missed the episode where I told Stephanie the story of you eating dog, and she came back with that she's eating bear. So.
Oh yeah. I've never had it, but I know that it exists.
Hey, you can't eat your own. What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
I'm a Wookiee, sir.
Which is a form of bear. Yeah. What the fuck?
I am a Chewbacca.
Everyone knows this, Mike.
No, I'm a space Yeti. I've heard of bear. I know you can eat it.
Oh, have you heard of bear?
As a food? Yeah.
You just said I've heard of bear. I'm like, who the fuck is
Joe Rogan?
You know what's actually really delicious? Fucking reindeer. Reindeer. Oh
yeah,
delicious.
Deer's really good.
No, but reindeer specifically.
Reindeer specifically?
Is it different? Does it taste different than venison? I'm asking. I don't know.
Look, honestly, it's like where
venison because it's called that, but reindeer's specific. I don't know.
Is reindeer?
I think like it's a bit of a deeper. I don't know how to describe it other than it's a deeper flavor. I don't know, but it could just be the way I ate it. Like it could be the way it's cooked. I didn't.
Reindeer's venison with
cloves.
Yes,
it tastes like Christmas.
And a little bit of nutmeg.
A little bit of mint. Is that mint?
Like, do I hear bells?
Why is that sparkly?
Does the meat grill with the white and red stripes pinned? Like, is that the way the meat grills? Just randomly?
Wow. It's the marbling. It's the marbling. Just
reindeer. Was it? Where'd you have it? I'm assuming somewhere.
The North Pole. Where the fuck else?
Yeah, I was in Kiruna, which is like, shit. Where the fuck is that located? Hold on.
Norway,
Kiruna?
Sweden, Denmark.
Yeah, it's like closer to. It's like up.
Finland
above.
Oh, that was it that trip?
Sweden.
So Stephanie goes, we're gonna
go
go
at the very top of Sweden. Like,
so
is it top or is it smack dab in the middle?
She's on that trip to Sweden and all these places, and then she goes to me. Yeah, we're gonna go see a What was it?
The Aurora Borealis.
We're gonna go see a Aurora Borealis, and I go, I've never heard that band. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. I wasn't joking. I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking. And then she was laughing her ass off, and I was like, what? And she was like, you know what? In your defense, that really does sound like a cool band name.
It has to be. It has to be.
Like, I would 100% go watch a band called the Aurora Borealis. Like,
yeah,
100%. They sound like someone I'd like.
And
it's also just a good assumption that I would go watch someone.
Yeah, I was like,
Borealis.
yeah, and then she was like, we're gonna, and then she said the way she said it, we're gonna go see the Aurora Borealis. I was like, all right, I've never heard their music, but I'm sure it's cool. Like I'm
opening up for the Arctic Monkeys, we have the Aurora Borealis.
They 100%. That is the lineup.
I feel like that lineup would be.
No, I've seen it.
I feel like it would. No, the closer would have to be the Franz
Ferdinand?
Trans-Siberian Orchestra. That's who the closer.
Oh, I thought you were saying that Franz Ferdinand was going to be the closer.
No.
I was like, okay, cool.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra would be the closer, but the opener would be Boris.
Yeah. I love how you can't say any
I can't even say now. I don't know. Aurora. I feel like even when I say it right, I'm like, I feel like I said that wrong, which is why my hesitancy. That can't be right. That sounds like gibberish. That sounds like I'm saying bibbidi pop.
Another thing that looks nothing like how you picture it to look.
And because were you let down? Did you have an Eiffel Tower experience?
For the first moment, I was kind of like, oh,
once
like it was a little bit.
Set it up that it's a band, at that point, it's just all fucking downhill after that. This is cool, but it'd be better if it was a band.
So, like when you first see it, it's not like because the way light gets captured in the camera, it's not nearly as colorful as you would think, right? It's not going to be those same colors because
Fucking
that's
Instagram
those.
filters.
No, it's not even. It's the way. Yeah, it's the way lens interprets light. However,
I saw Man of Steel and the way she was able to capture with her camera just goes to show me that it really does film that way.
Okay.
To our long-time listeners, they know what's up. Rookie will understand what's happening right now. Stephanie Meyer Sr. watching Man of Steel for the first time was hung up on that one shot where Lois goes into an Arctic cave with a camera. She
I admit it's dumb, but it's me. It's the thing I accept about myself. I will always be distracted when people use the wrong lens.
There's an alien flying in this movie. Yeah, but the lens she used would not be
It
the
was
one
a
she
long
used
lens.
I get it with the medical stuff. If
It doesn't
you
even-
know if you know your shit, that when
Right?
that shit comes up, you're like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Every time I
And
watch
it's just like, this
Punchline with Tom Hanks, I'm like, really? Lockers at a comedy club? Get the fuck out of here. Look how far back I have to go for that one pull because that's the only thing I know about. I don't know shit about anything else. I don't know anything about medical. I don't know anything about cameras, but I'm like, there was one time where there was a movie about stand-up in 1987. I'll go back to that reference. As timely a reference as G.I. Jane, if you think about it. So.
Oh my God. Are we still talking about that? Wow.
Please no. Let's please
so
not.
many things have happened since then.
Oh, but what I was gonna say about the Aurora Borealis, Jesus Christ, about that before I forget, is it's the unique thing, and it's this thing that ties into the way I travel. Jesus Christ.
No, go, keep going. Ignore us.
Yes, there is that split second where it's not what you imagine or expected, but the new thing that it is still very cool because unfortunately it's still a new thing where when you're underneath it. And I was really lucky that I was there during a really good time and whatever, all this stuff, like asterisks.
The opposite of Mike.
There were so many things out. There were so many different bands out that, yes, visually it looked different than I expected. However,
those kind of bands. I was like, what? It's a band. I fucking called it.
It is a band. There were so many different bands out that it felt like being inside of a snow globe, like the warped, weird feeling of it being over you just changed. Like it was like trippy. So that trippiness, that new thing that it was newly impressive, and I was able to really appreciate it and was like excited that I threw down the money to go. Right?
Those photons traveled millions and millions of miles to pierce the atmosphere into your eyeball for you to go.
I didn't go meh. I went, this is fucking cool, because I was also driving a snowmobile through it. So it was very.
Oh wow,
it was
dope.
I love the
it was a really cool
the Aurora
experience.
Borealis, and Mike was like, yeah, whatever. And then you mentioned snowmobile. She's like, whoa,
I'm back on board.
Snowmobile? That's odd. Like,
no, but it is like nighttime.
The
combo being a snowmobile and this wide open.
It's pretty cool.
This wide open snow field with no one else around other than people that I'm with, underneath this like dome, and feeling like you're in a fishbowl. Like it was.
Yeah, because it is just like it's like you're watching magnetism. Like you're seeing it in like.
Yeah.
Steph,
but that's very much the way. That's very much the way I travel too. Like I'll go to the Louvre and I'll see the Mona Lisa and be like, oh, that's smaller than I thought. But you know what's really cool? That fucking painting over there. Like, I'm going to go do this. It's not so much like, oh, that thing was shit and was let down. I was like, that thing was still cool. You know what was better, though? This other thing that no one talks about.
That's how I felt when I went to Alaska. I'm like, man, these mountain ranges are beautiful. What? Fudge? Holy shit. You make your own fudge? Like, I'm that guy. I'm like, you make your own fudge? That's fucking cool, man. 17 different kinds of fudge. Get the fuck out of here. And I was like,
best day ever.
There's a beautiful mountain range behind me. I'm like, yeah. So you put caramel and pecans. Whoa, man, fucking crazy.
Good. Yes. Fuck. Now I want whatever that is.
It's got deliciousness. I have them all over Alaska. Like, there's so many places. And I remember I was coming back home and I texted Paul and I was like, hey man, are you a fan of fudge? Do you like fudge? And then he thought it was gonna be a joke because I feel a joke coming. I go, no, I'm literally in Alaska, and I'm like getting ready to go to the airport, and there's a fucking fudge thing there. And then when he had me on the radio, he had me retell that story where he literally thought I was just gonna make fun of him. And I'm like, no, man. I was walking like to a coffee shop, to wait for my bus transfer to go to the airport. I look over and there's a guy, and there's a fudge store, whatever. And I see a guy packing fudge. You immediately think my friend Paul, and then
and then where did the joke happen?
No, that was it. I was no joke. I was like, that's what happened. Anyways, by the way, before I forget, we got
everyone expecting you to be a troll. You're just like, I was trying to be nice.
I was trying to be nice, but you guys forced it out of me. Fine, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
Yeah.
We
I'll
got
go for the low-hanging fruit.
Look.
Ooh, kick flicks.
Oh, look at it.
On a keychain.
We got WuBro and Kickflix keychains, and then Mike is
showing. Can you please give some to my parents so they could bring it to me in Australia? Because we're not shipping internationally yet.
Pretty sure they're gonna forget it, but yeah, I could absolutely do that. But and then there's that, and then the pins and stuff, and yeah, we got merch.
That's exciting.
All you gotta do is write a review. All you gotta do is write a review on iTunes, and then a positive one.
And then you get it Oh yeah. We should probably say
5 stars. None of this bullshit.
Yeah, none of this.
That was another thing I learned on this trip, where it was like the reviews on most of these sites are nonsense. Like it's such a hit or miss thing. What I ended up doing is like if a place had like an average rating, you look and see how many reviews, because if something has like a 4.2 and like 20,000 reviews, I'm like, wow, that's not bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah, because there's plenty of people who go on there and they're like, too many Italians.
But then what I did is I only went, fuck those Filippo or whatever his name was. I would, if it was an average of a 4 level, like 4 stars, I would only read the 4-star reviews, because those are probably the experience I'm going to get. So people are like, oh yeah, it was super tasty, whatever. But the service was a little slow. I'm like, okay, I could choose from it. They were great, all this stuff. The food came out wrong, but it wasn't their fault. Up about 4 stars. Like those are the kind of reviews. Like, so if something is an overall rating, go read only those overall the reviews that are in line with that, and that sort of helped a little bit.
I'm the exact opposite. I go, why did these people give it a 1?
I just want to know the drama. I just want to know the drama.
I always I get the 1s because if it's something like, to give you an example of an Amazon, right? Like
a Karen review.
No, but if it's something like, the delivery took too long. Well, that's the fucking item's fault. You're rating the item. Why are you fucking the delivery? Oh, and then Amazon fucking didn't want it. And I'm like, but that's not the product. If I'm a keychain, whatever the fuck, just pick an item. Right. If you're giving a review based for a keychain and you're 1 star, so I always read the 1 stars and see like, what is it? So is it that, like, a lot of times I'll read a 1 star and it's like, that didn't deserve a 1 star. And so I know, then I can ignore these and it's most likely going to be a good product. That's the way I go with it.
Yeah. Those are usually the ones. The 1s and the 5s usually are broadcast in the summary, like where on the thing. But if you go click into reviews of places, that's what I end up doing. So you'll see like a 0 and then a 5 right next to each other, and it'll be like, which one do I believe?
All right. Do we have Am I the Asshole?
I have it up. There's a couple here to choose from. Here we go.
Stephanie, you would have loved / hated the last one that Mike and I did.
Really?
Am I the Asshole?
I don't remember.
It was the BDSM.
Oh yeah.
What?
Some guy tricked his girlfriend by saying I'm into BDSM and I love bondage and basically making her work out.
Yeah, to lose weight. He tricked her into starting exercising to lose weight by telling her that he's into watching a woman get to a physical exhaustion point.
Yeah.
And had her do burpees with him on his back and the whole fucking thing. Yeah. And here's the kicker. She actually started enjoying it. So she started enjoying this workout again, because these are and then am I the asshole? So then it was like, am I the asshole for getting mad at him
Right.
for tricking me into working out? And that was
they broke up or something. Like they were like she was gonna break up with him. And then it was like one of those in the comment. It was one of those where you read the comments where all of them had like a well.
Yeah, it was like, and then there was a lot of women who were like, "Fuck them." First of all, the big problematic thing was she was 18 and he was 29.
Yeah.
So that was like fucking just. I mean,
yeah. No,
And
that
then
manipulation.
And they had started dating prior to her being 18, because people were doing the math. It's like, wait, so he's been doing this for how long now? Yes, all of these red flags. It was chock full. It was chock full of weirdness. But there was some people who were like, "Well, I mean, you got to."
You're like, look, you're in a shitty. Like, if it's gotten you a better place, just get rid of that dead weight and just go get weights. Just that's it.
So, but it was
go join a CrossFit gym. I'm sure there's many people there who will help me feel like shit.
I do feel like it's like that episode of Seinfeld where George starts having sex with food involved.
Oh yeah,
and then he starts eating. Every time he starts eating, he gets real horny.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, now every time she works out, she's just gonna be like, I need to fuck something. Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of guys at the fucking.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for screaming at my sister and making her cry in front of everyone after finding out she took part in this prank with my ex? That took a turn in that just the first title.
Just the title.
Or
make me go,
am I the asshole for ignoring an autistic guy on my flight?
Now it sounds like it's gonna make me sad. Do the other one.
That was
Am I the asshole for screaming at my sister and making her cry in front of everyone after finding out she took part in this prank with my ex? Over a year ago, my relationship got in a bad place because my ex and I, 27 male, broke up with 2 years prior. Bro, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can read this.
Is it just written like shit?
It's written like shit. Broke up with 2 years okay. So I guess he broke up with this girl for 2 years prior, and then she sent a DM that I'm her baby daddy. Her daughter was under a year old, by the way, so I already knew it was BS, and told her, don't contact me again. She found my girlfriend's 27, so his current girlfriend, Insta, and started sending her messages too. And this was my daughter. She's sorry for being involved with me, knowing that I was in a relationship with my girlfriend. I can't read this.
So you're mumbling. I can't fucking understand where you can't.
Because I can't get the fucking sentence out.
Is it just one giant run-on?
Here we go. I'm going to read it like it's written. She found my girlfriend's 27 female Insta and then started sending her messages too. That this is my daughter. She's sorry for being involved with me, knowing I was in a relationship with my girlfriend, but since I'm refusing to take responsibility, she didn't know who else to reach out to, trying to make herself seem all genuine. My girlfriend was sent fake screenshots that were supposedly from me then. Also, the one I actually sent her about leaving me alone because that's not my baby. Around this time, my girlfriend was 6 months pregnant. So the stress/hormones of that, plus the info she gave her, the times we supposedly met up after telling my girlfriend I'm working late matches up because those were actually nights I had to work late. All that freaked her out and she really did start having doubts. I got to the point where my girlfriend was really scared and confused, and she went to stay with her parents for a few days. I was so scared I was going to lose my family. Then my ex apologized when she heard my girlfriend wasn't staying at our apartment. She just wanted to mess with us a little because she was still bitter I dumped her, but she didn't mean for it to go that far. My girlfriend came back. It took some time to come back from that, but we have our son now who's 7 months, and we're happier than ever. My sister, 25-year-old female, told me about this last weekend when we were at our parents'. She got a little tipsy from the mimosas, and when we were joking about all our old embarrassing stories, she just blurted it out. But she thought it was okay to talk about now since me and my girlfriend are fine. I kept asking her why the hell she would do something like that. Straight up arguing right there in front of my family.
Do what though? What?
See?
It seems like she was in on the prank
Right.
with the ex-girlfriend. Like, oh, this would be funny if you say that that kid is his.
Yeah, my girlfriend came. My sister told me about this last weekend. I guess he's referring to the title that she took part in the prank.
Mm-hmm.
She got a little tipsy from the mimosas, and when we were all drinking, okay, and it's blurted out that it was okay to talk about since me and my girlfriend are fine. I kept asking her why the hell she would do something like that, straight up arguing right then and there in front of my family. She says she was just being stupid and bored since she wasn't working, and like my ex, didn't realize it would get that bad, which is why they stopped it. But obviously, my ex didn't rat on my sister. I called my sister a stupid bitch for almost wrecking my relationship, and what that put my girlfriend through. My sister started crying, and this is why she didn't say anything, because it might get this reaction. No shit. She only said something now because she was embarrassed, and now we're in a good place, so she doesn't know why I'm mad about it. It was a whole thing. My sister cried in the bathroom and wouldn't come out. I went home early to be with my girlfriend and son. They all said, but I'm suing the family, they all said I behaved like an asshole when my sister decided to come clean and owe her an apology for my overreaction, just like she owed me one. Was my reaction warranted, though, or was it actually an overreaction? I'm still mad about it. Am I the asshole?
Tell you what, there's a reason his sister has no concept of what's acceptable to do to people or not, and it's definitely because the family fucking coddles her.
Yeah.
Because for them to think that he's a dickhead for the way he reacted to this shitty thing she did.
Also, like, if they're
25.
posting on "Am I the asshole?", we're already behind the eight ball. We're already in trouble in terms of like
communication,
these communication issues. But yeah.
This
That's
guy
not a prank.
sounds like he took an 8-ball before he wrote this.
Man, it really is poor. Look, I don't begrudge anybody's writing ability, but also like, oof, that was rough.
Also, I do. No, dude. Okay, this one is an obvious. Like, okay, obviously you're not the asshole, bro. Like, I kind of wish I would have chosen the other story now because this guy's.
Have either of you been a part of a prank that got out of hand?
No, I can't say.
No, I'm not a prank guy. I'm not a real prank guy. I once pranked.
Mine are so nice. Like,
I once pranked David De Rosario. We were at the Miami Improv, old Miami Improv, and David De Rosario, friend of the show. He's been on. He hasn't been on in a while, but he was on, comedian, and we were doing a showcase for like some agent or whatever the fuck we were doing. And he went on stage and fucking just murdered. And we all thought it would be funny in the green room. We all thought it would be funny to when he came back into the green room, because the Miami Improv, the stage door leads right into the green room. And we all thought it would be funny that when he came back into the green room, we all just gave him the cold shoulder.
Oh, you iced him out?
Yeah, we iced him out. Like, that's the thing that you do in baseball. When you do in baseball and somebody hits a home run and they come back to the dugout and they're like, they're all pumped up and nobody fucking gives them props. And so we all thought it'd be hilarious. And here's the thing, he didn't get it, so he just walked out of the green room and left. And then Ricky Cruz had to go fucking chase him down. Like, no, we were fucking with you, man. It was great. You did it.
Like, did he genuinely get upset?
No, he didn't get upset. He was just confused. He didn't get, like, it didn't. It's not the same for comedy than it is for like baseball. When you are
like hitting a home run, you did.
No, but not only that, you have to stay in the dugout. You don't have the option of going somewhere else. He didn't have to stay physically in the green room. He just walked out, and we're like, oh, we didn't think about that. We never thought about him just leaving the green room, and now he's left the joke. Physically, he's left the joke.
There's so many pranks.
Like the most I've ever done for a prank is like cover my brother's room in Post-it notes. Like,
I mean,
but like actually fully covered. But like, I have commitment to a bit. I'll commit to a bit, but the bit's never gonna make you feel bad. The bit's gonna make you laugh.
Yeah.
Like, I want the other person to be in on it.
I love watching those prank video YouTube people when they get their shit punched out of their, like when they get like fucking slapped, or like someone calls them, like this guy walks up behind someone with like an air horn, like a legitimate air horn. Someone goes bam, and then this guy like jumps, and then his that shit hurts your ears, and you could potentially damage like your ears. And he's like, "What the?" And then oh, it's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank, bro. And the guy just starts beating the shit out of him, and I'm like, "Yeah, good, you fucking idiot."
No, usually I get like actually offended when my like TikTok algorithm or any of my social media algorithms decides to show me like a prank video, being like, "Oh, you're like," I'm like, what about me makes you think that I'm the kind of person that would like this?"
I love a good harmless prank video. I like good pranks, like when it's just like at the end of a prank, everyone should be laughing. Everyone,
yes,
right? Like everyone should be laughing. And there was one.
Oh, like when they get in the elevator and then they shut out and then the lights flicker and then like the little girl comes in and those are fucking great. You ever seen those?
And but those are scary. Yeah. And
Yeah.
did you see one where this guy throws a bottle at someone dressed as like a haunted nun or whatever it was?
Yeah.
He just shows up and you just see this lady like, and this guy's like, and he just chucks a bottle and goes tink, and you see the person go. Like that shit's so funny to me. But one of my favorite harmless pranks that I've ever seen was on the street where they were like, "Hey, we're doing a limbo challenge," and so they blindfold somebody and they put a limbo stick and they have them hold out and they touch it. And
right.
They'd start doing the limbo to try to get under the stick, and the two people just walk away.
Yes, that's
so you just see somebody like. In the middle of the sidewalk by themselves, and all of a sudden, like, enough time goes by where they're just like, something should have happened by now, and they take the thing off, and everybody's like laughing. Oh, it's so funny. Like that to me is a harmless prank.
I can't really do secondhand cringe, so like secondhand embarrassment, it gets to me so much, and I can't really enjoy those videos. So I'm just like.
Have you seen those where somebody goes into a porta potty and they build an entire fucking conference room outside the door of the porta potty?
Yeah.
Those are great.
The
most recent one
they come out of the fuck. Can you imagine coming out of the porta potty and you're like in the fucking meeting and people are trying to like,
a lot of those are fake. But
it's like you're like, am I actually dreaming?
I love there's one that I saw that they pull like a Uno reverse on the prankers, where something jumps up and scares the guy. And then he just drops to the ground and starts like convulsing on the ground. And you see all the people like, oh my God. And then you just like stand, like everybody like, oh no, we scared someone into a fucking seizure.
I'm fine. It's fine.
Yeah. And then
they're just seeing the lawsuits in front of them. That's what they're saying.
I mean, hey, good prank.
You got me. You got me. You know who's really dying though? My lawyer. He's having a heart attack.
He needed you to stand up immediately.
Oh man.
I don't know. Have you been the victims of a prank?
Not really. All my things that I've been either victim of or like they're not really pranks. They're like
bullying from an older sibling.
They're like nut checks. Remember when nut checks was a thing for like a split second? I stopped that real quick. I was like, hey man, I'm not fucking playing this game. Like I had to like get serious. I'm like, I don't do that shit.
Yeah.
And I think my older brother wasn't good at pranks. Like he was just one of those people that like it was always more like picking on or bullying than a prank. Like I feel like prank has to be good natured or good hearted. Like to me, I was like, he tried to think that he thought he was doing a prank, and I'm like, you pretending that I'm the one who farted isn't a prank. Like it's just it's just you pretending I farted and me being like, the sound came from you. Like you weren't convincing.
We told my cousin that if you ever fart and you don't want anybody to smell it, you have to smell it all up before. He goes, so
like
see that at least is like an extra level of thought that like at least like you did a thing.
Yeah, so it's like if you ever fart, just start like you have to sniff it all up so that nobody else can smell it. So one day we were in the car, and he just starts going like aggressively. We're like, "What the fuck?" We're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "You can't smell it." And then it hit us all. Like all of a sudden, we're like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "I thought you would be able to smell it." I love that. Or
It makes you wonder. Like the thing is, like it makes you wonder how many times he did it in front of other people.
It strikes me. It's also those are also like farts are inherently funny, especially like road trip farts or like
I've
school
never
bus
really
farts.
been.
I remember one time. It feels more like a guy thing, but it's definitely
Because I've always been icked out by it.
But like if you ever like are doing something like that happens, or you fart and you want to like mess with people because it's like guys being dumb or whatever. The same reason Jackass is popular. Just tell everyone it's like, do you smell popcorn? Just right at.
I've never thought one of the things, because I've been, for my entire life, I've been wanting to be a father, right? Wanted to have, I knew I was going to have kids for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, like I remember distinctly being 19, 20 years old and being like, I can't wait to have kids so that I could play board games with them. Like I want to have a board game night. And I remember thinking that when we first had our first daughter 10 years ago, and like I can't wait till she's old enough we can play board games. Like that's what I was thinking.
Oh, then you had a kid with ADD.
Never in that mind, never in that whole all those years that I ever think to myself, I can't wait to play the fart game with my kids. But that's what I've become. I've become that dad where one of us farts either be me, my son, or my oldest daughter, and then we'll blame it on somebody else. And they got that from me where I'm like, so I'll fart and I'll be like, lady, I blame it on my dog, right? It starts with the dog, and then I start blaming the kids, whatever, and then they start doing it. They fart, and then it's just like this never-ending loop of like, oh my god, and then we always blame mom, like, oh, it was mommy, and she's like, she's the only one that doesn't fart. I was like, what the fuck? I'm not the one
that doesn't fart.
Well, not in front of us is what I'm saying. Like, and not loud.
I go in private, like a.
You don't lift it like my wife doesn't lift her leg up apart. Well, that's such a fucking me thing. Like I'm like, well, I gotta lift it up.
Vanessa's got to get on the podcast and either dispute or refute the stories of her farting.
Yeah, she's got it. No, and then we all do it. We all like, and we all
need to know: do you have gas?
And then that's the thing. We all laugh because when we start blaming Vanessa, when we start blaming mommy, we know that everybody's like, the jig is up. Mommy never, like, it's not, but it's so fucking funny to us. But it's like, it's so great. And then my son will fart and laugh hysterically. And it's like, and it's the funniest thing because he's laughing, but he's like, no. And I'm like, what the fuck?
You gave yourself away.
You gave yourself up, man. So dumb. You gave yourself
up.
You
make a terrible spy.
Yeah. See, I've always been. I don't find farts funny, but then I had a child.
How do you not find farts funny, man? It's hilarious, dude. Come on.
I don't know. I just.
You know what I don't find funny?
I don't find
shit funny.
Shit's not funny.
Shit is not funny.
Bodily functions in general, I'm like icked out about. I think it comes from like growing up in like the 80s and 90s and like seeing videos of people picking on each other when it came to spit and like people hawking loogies. I just can't. Any of that stuff gives me the fuck out.
Loogies was never meant to be funny. Loogies is meant to be gross. It's not.
I've seen people like because they think gross is funny. And I don't find gross funny. I just have never been good with gross out. I don't like gross out humor. I never have. I can't watch movies that have gross out humor. None of it.
So farting, I don't consider gross out humor because what's funny is not the actual fart. What's funny is you trying to play it off, and it's obvious that it's you know what I mean. Like that to me is where the comedy lies.
Like to you, yes, exactly. To you, the comedy is the comedy lies in it not in being obvious. That's what that part.
I disagree. I would like to point a counter to put forth a counter argument.
Please tell me the counterpoint to farting.
The fart smell is not funny.
No,
the fart noise is funny. So the fart noise is funny if it's properly timed, and the fart smell is funny to you when it is hurting others.
No, I'm still icked out by it. And this is why one of those things where I'm just like, I am so glad I ended up with Dave. Dave is one of those guys that he doesn't accidental things. Accidents are funny.
Yeah.
On purpose farts. No. We're not a fan of on purpose farts. Although I will say
that's impossible. He's a guy. He just says that for your benefit because he has nobody else to fucking play the fart game with.
But you know what? It's one of those things where even though he's doing it for my benefit, and I do like that about him. The fact that he's sticking to it 5 years in, and the man will still not fart in front of me. That is why I'm keeping him.
You don't find that weird? You don't find that weird? Like you don't feel comfortable enough to fart on me? Like not on me, around me.
People have their own boundaries.
No,
sure.
Exactly. He looks at me and he's like, "Oh wait, hold on." He'll go to the fucking bathroom and fart. I'll hear it, sure, but you know what? He actually went to the bathroom.
Like, come on, man. That's not excessive, dude. Come on, man. That's not.
The man does not have good. The man has tummy troubles. Like,
right. I will say
he
this.
doesn't because he has tummy troubles. Like,
if you're sensitive to your because I will say this. If I have one brewing that I know is like this one could be bad.
The best.
Where it's like this could be bad. I'll just go to the bathroom and go to the bathroom. Like
yeah, I don't have those. I don't like. I'm pretty good about. I haven't sharted in 30 years.
Me neither.
So I am pretty good about like if I'm gonna fart, I know it's gonna be a fart. Like I have no fear, so I don't have the fear of it gonna be something else. So I think farts are. I think again, to me is the obvious. Like I can't believe you would do that in church of all places. Like I can't. Like that to me is where the comedy lies. It's like it's fucking funny. Like,
did I ever tell you the story?
I sometimes like to fart when my kids are playing with us on our bed, and they won't leave us alone. And we're like, "Come on, let us sleep." And they're like, "It's fucking 8:00 in the morning. Wake up! It's Saturday, 10:00." And then I lay this massive fart, and it just clears the room. And then my favorite thing to do is in that scenario, turn over to Vanessa and be like, "You're welcome." Like that saved us. Like it's better to fucking. She's like, "Really? You think it's better to be farted on than have my children on me?" I'm like, "Pick one, bro. Pick one. You can't have both."
There was a story in the ER one time. I may have told this on the podcast before, but I'll tell it again because it's relevant. This older lady comes in and she can't communicate. She doesn't know, she's demented, Alzheimer's, whatever. But she's just like writhing on the stretcher, going like losing her mind. The daughter's there, like older lady, but and we start trying to figure out what's wrong with her because she's like in pain. And then we like take her blood pressure. We're talking. We're like, oh, she's like, oh, and we're like, does she communicate? No, she doesn't communicate. Oh, and it's like we're like worried for this woman. We don't know what the pain. It could be anything, and we have to assume it's like an emergency in the emergency room. So we're doing our stuff, whatever. Finally, we had to like take her clothes off to check her body to see if she has any injuries or anything like that. And then so as we do, we'd go to like roll her over onto her side, and then. Just as like the nurse is going to give a thermometer for a temperature, and the lady farts for like a solid 15 seconds, like 15 seconds straight of like, like just a solid, like they blew her hair back. And me and my other paramedic friend, we were like holding the lady, and we were just like looking at her, like her hair blowing in the fart wind. The daughter's just like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, but like as soon as we turn her over, she goes, oh. It's really it farts for like 15 seconds, and then the second we roll her back over, she's asleep before we let go. Like she just had one of these farts on deck that it must have been brewing for who knows how long, and now
it's like she's like babies go through.
Yes, I mean that's what we are. We're just adult babies.
Yeah, when we get older, but yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the whole thing of like. There are moments as now having a kid.
What is happening?
That I will find farts funny. Oh my god!
Hey,
to the listener, Vanessa is here in the little shop.
My wife.
What happened?
Well, I brought her in here because we were talking about. I don't know how it came up, but it came up within context, within conversation about the fart game, and how as a person who's always wanted to be a father, I've always looked towards wanting to play board games with my kids that I never had at that point or I hadn't had. But I never thought I'd be the dad that loves to play the fart game. And now we all not just fart, like the kid, we all, meaning me and the kids, we all fart and we all blame each other.
We sound like too many people.
Yeah. But I made the statement of like we all fart, and then when we all start blaming one another, we know the jig is definitely up when we start blaming you because you never fart. And then like Vanessa farts, I'm like, yeah, but not like the way we not in public, not on us, not like it.
It's for private places, okay?
Right? Exactly.
Okay, so then I feel like I'm playing recap here with the listener, but Stephanie says that Dave, 5 years into the relationship, has never farted in front of her.
On purpose. It's an accident.
Like on purpose. Accidents are accidents, but like on purpose, never. ever.
He goes to the bathroom. He goes to maybe you're the wrong person.
I established that shit real early on of being like, I don't find this sexually attractive.
I love how Neri established that my wife hates this. And then he brings her on to defend the thing that she hates.
No,
what are you
and be like, look at this other person. Look at this other person who doesn't have to put up with it. Isn't that hilarious?
I didn't say she hates it. I didn't.
Rub it in my face.
I didn't say she hates it. I said that she doesn't partake in it. There's a difference between hating something and not partaking in it.
Now, Vanessa, I have a question. Have you ever farted and then blamed one of those children? And then
I don't
as a deflection.
When they fart, I like to blame other people around them because they think it's funny. But no, I don't. And I don't fart. I floof. Thank you very much.
I refuse to. Everyone, I don't care if you call it whatever you want.
It's a floof.
The thing. Have you ever accidentally or intentionally just had to it's a gonna happen situation. It'll force its way out as it ever happened at an inopportune time.
No comment.
Mary immediately had one.
Why did I come in here? I should have stayed.
But Neri, going back to trying to make it romantic again, did it come out at an inappropriate time, and then Neri dive on top of that bomb and say it was him?
No, he would have blamed the kids.
No, but I want to hear the story. I want to hear it.
Well, no, because the opportune time there was no one else to blame. That was.
Oh, gotcha. Got it.
There was no one else to blame.
See, those are funny though.
Rookie says, not for nothing. Say what you will about me. I'm a fucking trooper. I kept going, man. I'm not gonna let nothing stop me. I'm not a fucking quitter.
Why did I come in here?
Rookie says, ever since I lost my ability to smell my own farts thanks to COVID, I have become a fart suicide bomber.
A suicide
fart bomber, rather.
To him, all of they could all potentially be silent but deadly, and he would not know. He would not know
because they're not silent. His hearing hasn't gone.
Right.
His hearing hasn't gone.
I had read something online.
Know how deadly they are.
I don't know if I read it online or it was a TikTok. I saw something once about a teacher who once had to explain to their I think it might have been a TikTok then, their deaf student didn't know that farts made a sound.
Yeah, because she taught hearing and deaf kids. So half the class was deaf, and the other half could hear. And one of the deaf kids farted, and all the hearing kids started laughing. And she had to explain to them that not only are they stinky, but they make noises, and that everybody's farts make noises. And even
the ones that don't smell, people know they're doing it.
Conversation it's perfect.
Can you imagine me? No, Red. Stop right there. We're gonna stop you right there. We're gonna stop you with that. You never read bullshit. But can you just imagine being 15 and finding out for the first time in your life that farts make a sound?
That's like the.
But still, it would blow your fucking mind. You're like, how long did no one tell me?
I once wrote
headphones in.
I once wrote a tweet. I was like, apparently, when I'm at the gym, my headphones just means that I can't hear my farts, but everybody else apparently can. That's what the tweet that I wrote, something to that effect, because it's true. When you're in the fucking elliptical, and you're like,
that happens to me. On
I've never experienced that before. I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, you need a treadmill
refuse
first.
to believe that women aren't as gassy as men. I've seen how you people eat.
No, but I just think that I think that it's one of the things where maybe from when I was younger, I got maybe used to this discomfort in my stomach and just holding it. I just kind of
just like everything else in our lives.
Exactly.
That doesn't sound nearly as impressive as you think it sounds. It sounds very destructive. It's not. If holding your pee in is not good for you, there's no way that holding toxic gas could be good. Let's just hold in that poison until an opportune time presents itself.
I don't think it's as bad. You just have to excuse yourself and go to the bathroom. You're fine. You know when it's most of the time.
And then come back.
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta. I'm gonna go clear my head.
I'm gonna go scream into the outside. I'll be right back.
I once had a day job in an office, and I once farted before I got to the cubicles, and then kept walking because I thought I had enough distance. And one of the girls, one of the employees, literally said, "Neri, that fart followed you." And I said, "I'm sorry." And I said, "I'm sorry. I thought I had enough room from one because the entrance of the fucking like it's not immediate. It wasn't like open the door and boom, the cubicles are there. It's like you have to walk a good 20, 25, 30 feet before you get to the quote unquote floor of where all the cubicles are.
That's why you gotta shake out the underwear. You gotta
I was like, and what I started doing is I started rubbing my ass on the fucking cubicle on the wall before you get to the cubicles. So it's like just cut it. Like in my mind, it's a smell, and then you cut it. That's it, and then the wall. Okay? That could be how smells work. You don't fucking know.
Well, except it's proven that it didn't.
No. That's what made me start doing that. I didn't do that beforehand. So that's when we're like, oh, now I gotta start cutting it with the wall before I get to the the floor area of.
How often were you doing it? That you had to come up with a method.
What do you mean? You don't fart every day. Who the fuck does a fart every day?
I don't fart every day. I
That's
don't.
bullshit.
I can't tell you. I don't fart every day.
Now I want to do one of those sleep tracking apps that records your snoring, but it's just going to pick up farts all night.
What if like all night?
All your farts come out at night.
No, but they have
you're like a werewolf of farts.
No, they have those.
And just Dave never told me. He's like, oh, I thought you were snoring.
Yeah.
Hey, snore from your ass.
They have an app where
kind of like snoring.
They have an app where you could see it uses the camera and then it uses infrared. And so if you point it, you could see the fart when it leaves because it's heat. It's warm. And they actually and they show people with like people farting in public. And like, that's a thing. There's no way you don't fart every day. If you don't fart every day, I really am concerned about your fiber intake. Because there's
if I'm on the toilet, I will go to if I'm on the toilet using the bathroom, then sure. If I'm using the toilet, I will pass gas.
No, but you have to fart. Like, so the only time you fart is when you're shitting?
No, I'll go specifically to the bathroom and sit down, and if I'll see like, is this gonna be a poop or is it gonna be a wind?
I think we got to stop fart shaming people. I think that it's unhealthy to hold all that in, and you should be allowed to fart. I think there should be farting sections. There should be farting sections in public places. Like they have smoking sections. You just like go to the smoking section, fart. And then you're like,
I tell my
kids, I'm sorry. Someone should just go to the smoking section and fart.
Go to the smoking section, fart, shake it out because you don't want to fall.
I like the idea of farting in the smoking section because that's where flames are, and you just like there's a fucking ball of like every so often it just looks like a 1920s photography lab. Like just.
It's a specific reference.
Oh man, we have gone very specific and off the rails.
I know now Stephanie's gonna be like, "That's not how those cameras worked back then," and then she's gonna be into that type of fucking conversation.
You saw Man of Steel, you know.
I don't know.
We've gotten
farting every day. I tell my kids farting is completely normal. You just don't have to make a circus out of it. You don't like I tell them for the purpose of public like yeah. I'm like, look,
but for that, just be like, also if you feel it coming, just go to the bathroom. That's it.
Right.
No,
that's
it is an important. It's an important lesson to learn. Don't push a fart.
Yes. It's
a lesson. It's a life lesson.
You know what it is, Mike? Ever since you introduced me to the 4-Hour Body book. Ever since now I understand the difference between complex carbs and simple carbs. I eat a lot more beans than I did, even though I
can blame you for that.
And even though I always ate beans, now it's like, I could just not eat the rice and beans, just eat the beans. And now I eat beans pretty much at every meal. Oh, it's a constant. Like, I'm fine. Like, no regular. So this morning I woke up and I had lost a pound from yesterday. And Vanessa, my wife, was like, maybe it's water. And I started thinking about it. Maybe it is water, right? Like water weight. And then I was like, nah, man, I took a shit twice yesterday after I weighed myself yesterday. I'm like, there's no way that is water. That is a legitimate pound, bro. Fuck that. That was
a legit pound.
Yeah.
You always have to weigh yourself before and after shitting for science. So you know how big it was.
Guys, how do we keep the romance alive after years with each other? Like...
Guess how much my poop weighed?
What do I get if I win? And then it's sexy time.
You get to go clean the toilet.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, with that said,
it's clogged, so there's a tip.
We're gonna call it. Anyways, thank you guys for taking us out.
Is that where we call it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I
gotta be honest with you. Nothing we're gonna come up with is gonna be funnier and or higher brand of comedy than we just. Nothing's gonna be classier than we just talked about right now. Yeah, we just nailed it. Yeah, when you get the 10, you fucking just leave. You go, I nailed it. I got the fucking. You don't tell Michael Phelps, oh, that was good. Do it better. You know, he got it. He nailed it.
You don't chase that dragon.
Yeah. So thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you check out the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network that include, but are not limited to, the Pero Let Me Tell You podcast, Chow Like a Best with Mike Valdez, the Comedy Fitness podcast, which should be coming back soon, from what I hear from my friend comedian Don Gray, Cramocopia with Jeff and Q, Kick Flicks with Mike, Jeff, and myself. And all the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network. Go to geekbro.net. Check out those podcasts. Yeah, and that's it. So thank you very much. Check out Stephanie's. Steph, are you back to work photography wise, or
you gotta click off Rookie's comment?
Not quite yet.
No. Okay.
No.
Sorry.
I'm still sitting shit.
No, I'm sorry. That should be the name. That should be the title of the episode.
Suicide Fart Bomber.
Suicide Fart Bomber. Anyways, thank you guys for checking us out. And
oh, you could even say line.
What?
The dismount line.
Oh no, we were laughing. We were laughing at Stephanie. We were laughing at Stephanie's reaction towards farts. I can't believe she's so anal about farts.
Anal about farts is also a good title.
I'm tired.
Thank you guys. That's how winning is done.